Did you ever walk through the hall at school when the other children were in their rooms? Did you ever listen to the sounds that come from the rooms? Some rooms sound like this. What's happening inside? It looks as if everyone is busy at work.
I used to go crayon. Sure. And you go on to that's a little girl.
Do all the rooms in school sound like this? Let's visit another room. Listen. It's so quiet. Aren't there any children in this room?
Would you tell us what we read?
Oh, there are children here. And they're all busy, too.
Jesus is not... Yeah, he isn't the Quran, he's a prophet.
Jesus is in heaven. Jesus is in heaven.
So David was a prophet as well.
Now, could iPads be set to replace books in the classroom? Some schools in Ireland are already embracing the new technology, and it's going down a real treat.
Oh, yes! I'm going to be pictures.
This could be the classroom of the future. These first-year students at St Kevin's College in Crumlin in Dublin are pretty nifty with their iPads. They've been given them instead of books.
They're good, like, instead of books, like, you're back haunting you when you're walking home, you can just take that.
When you're on your break, you can do what you want with them. And after a while, you can bring them home.
You can have all your books in one, so you can't leave one at home and say to your teacher, I forgot my books.
At the end of the 5 years, the students get to keep the iPads too. Not bad going.
They're going to have all their school texts and a lot of their project work done online on their iPad. They'll bring it home, they'll work on it. It means their school bags will be light. The books are far more affordable, they're 40% cheaper, and the parents will pay €150, and that covers all costs for going to the school for the year.
Most students in Ireland are sticking with traditional methods for now. Expensive and heavy though, books could be on the way out if schools like this one give iPads the thumbs up.
Is Bruce Lee dead?
Yeah.
Literally.
Who's going on?
And his son got shot.
Who are? Bruce Lee? Like Tupac.
He's going to put the baby in half on that guy. Check out what David did. Who did he kill? Check out who David killed.
King Herod.
Not Herod. That was Herod going to kill all the babies.
Killed the fish.
That's a water.
Check out who did. Check it out on your iPad. Who did David kill?
I got the idea, well, like any idea, I think it's occurring in many places simultaneously, and you just kind of somehow pick it up on the air, for want of a better way of doing it. So I went out and I visited one school that had laptops for the last 3 years, and their enrollment had gone from 20 to 40 to 60. So they'd, significantly increased the enrollment to the school. The school has gotten quieter, their behaviours have gotten better. And I went up, I visited the school, I did a bit of research on the internet, and I thought this would make sense for us, and it'd help us, because the numbers in Crumlin seem to be up and down each year, depending on where the popular kids go. And if a popular kid goes to your school, your numbers go up significantly that year. Then the next year it might drop down, which would just suggest there's an oversupply of schools in the area. And so you're competing in a place where there's probably too many schools at this point.
Check out what other book, what other sacred text does Goliath appear in?
The Bible.
David appear in as well. Not the Bible. Check out another one. Read through it there.
The one that we have, faith.
Not that one. Another religion altogether. Where does David appear? The last bit at the end of the page, right? He saw that Jesus was the new Moses, the one promised by God, the Messiah, the son of David. In essence, Matthew taught his followers a new way of living. But what I want you to do now is go to Safari, check up who was David. I'll be with you in 2 seconds. So who was David?
I wouldn't see it as a soothing tool, but I think if that's the way they're doing their interactions at home, and that's how they're having fun and playing games at home and engaging in their social networks and stuff, then it is slightly more appropriate that they get taught with that medium. Where what happens in school, like if you had a picture of a Dickensian school from 200 years ago, or about 150 years ago, it would look the same as the classroom today. You know, you might have a whiteboard with markers, but instead of chalk, but it's still the same thing, isn't it? All the desks pointing to the front, teacher at the head. Do you know what I mean? I think it offers a more collaborative approach where you can have the kids, like you are there, filming, engaging in project work, researching on the internet, you know, driving their own education, really.
It's easier to carry your books around, and it's instead of having like 10 books in your bag, it's much lighter to bring it around. And then if you're the books, you have to get to a certain page you're looking for age. All you have to do is type the number of the page on your iPad and it comes up.
Is that kind of some stand it has there?
Yeah. It's called R, and they're made in Cork and Dublin. And then they're to protect your case and screen and that, just in case it drops and breaks.
Sometimes I feel like I'm learning, but sometimes I don't. It depends on all the teachers you have and how good the class has been as well. But it's good when you're in class as well and the teacher asks you to find something like specific for a Gothic architecture or something. You can just search up a Gothic architecture on Google Images and they'll all just come up. So that'll be good as well for if you don't know what things look like and you have to wait until you go home. You can just do it in class.
Apple is trying to get schools and educators to shift from using heavy, expensive, outdated textbooks like the one that you see on that wall with new digital interactive versions made especially for the iPad that you see Apple reps demoing all around this room right now.
What Apple has done is provided a very simple tool, a powerful tool that looks really good and works well. I love the preview on the iPad. They've gotten together with some very important and powerful partners who are already delivering textbooks into the education marketplace, and they put it at a price point where I think the education system can get excited about it. So all those things together comprise a game changer for the education textbook market.
Textbooks are a massive $10 billion industry, but there are big challenges that Apple faces. School budgets are very tight right now, and some people are worried about the durability of an iPad in the hands of grade children, and a lot of these initiatives are aimed at kindergarten through high school. Still, Apple's track record speaks for itself, and the company says it is committed to reforming education.
All of us at Apple know that you really can empower people through learning. And technology has a role to play to help in doing that. And it's one of the best things that's built into the culture at Apple, to care about learning and to want to do our bit to help improve that process.
I sometimes like, sometimes hate teaching with the iPad. There's an awful lot of pros, a huge amount of cons as well. It's great having something that's so interactive with the students, and they do take to having something that's they can touch and something that they can play around with and mess around with. But the iPad itself, the facilities that are available on it, are not good yet. They're quite bad. The books are slow. It's the exact same book that you'd have in paper, but when you're changing the pages, it takes 5 seconds longer. So it's kind of annoying. But then on the other hand, they have a dictionary at their fingertips. They have clips at their fingertips. You can show them people speaking Irish very quickly. You can show them a huge amount of different sites that they can use. I definitely think that the idea of an interactive pad or even using computers in the classroom is what's going to happen. It is going to be a situation where there's going to be less copies, less books, and more technology in the classroom, especially seeing as it's an awful lot cheaper to have books online on the iPad than it would be to be buying copies. And it's also probably better for the environment. But I don't know. I'm still unsure. I still think kids need to learn how to spell themselves, and they still need to be able to use their pen and paper. That might be very old-fashioned, and I'll probably move on with the time in a few years. But I think until the apps and until everything is kind of to a proper level where everything is an awful lot quicker, a little bit more interactive, things are actually created for education, then they're not really going to be, it's not really going to be a huge difference in using an iPad as in using a book, because all that I do have really is a book on an iPad, whereas we're looking for something a little bit more interactive nowadays when you're using your ICT. So when you're using your interactive whiteboard, you want to be able to change things around, to show them pictures, to be constantly getting them to think about things, constantly putting something new in front of them. Their attention span is so small. They can only kind of handle 10 to 15 minutes about one subject before you move on. So it needs to be with the iPad that the information is there on your fingertips. And I suppose it is in some ways there to be found on the internet, but the books need to be a little bit more interactive. And I think the idea that it's just an iPad that they're using, I don't understand why we need to be using something that's so incredibly expensive when you can go out and get a different tablet for €100. Why should the school be spending €600 on an iPad? And Apple don't seem to be helping that much at all either. So why are we spending a huge amount of money because of this specific brand name? Why can't we be using a Samsung? Why can't we be using a HTC? Why can't we be using a Motorola one? There's so many different things that are available, and yet there's no Android apps as far as books are concerned. So I'm kind of unsure as to what to say next.
You know, for productivity wise, you know, I'd say if you're aiming to get, you know, 100% productivity out of a group of people, then you're not going to get 100% productivity out of them by using an iPad, because they get very distracted very quickly. And that goes to say for children and adults. The games, then, that would be another big problem. We're not entirely able to sort of stop kids playing games, and as I said, you could have the kids off the games at the beginning of the class. Everybody could be on their book, but not everybody's going. Not everybody. You know, I'm not saying all the kids go straight. You know, midnight turn me back to go straight onto it. But you're guaranteed to get one guy that will go straight off the book and onto a Facebook or something, check it real quickly, then straight back onto the book.
We've got quite a strong nanny on it, and also we've put a setting onto the iPad so they're set for 12-year-olds, so they can't access any 18 games or 18 material or content. So they'd be very well protected, more so than they would be with a telephone, where they can look up anything, film anything. You know.
So it's okay for a 12-year-old to look up 12-year-old stuff while in class. So,
yeah.
Condoning it.
Well, like, what content could there be out there that would be that offensive that you wouldn't want a 12-year-old to gain access to?
Well, it wouldn't have to be offensive. It was just take away from school time.
But it's a bit like saying, how do you stop a child from doodling or daydreaming? You know, it's the teacher's job to keep students on track and on focus. And surely with, you know, the internet at their fingertips, it should be feasible. You know, and if you can't, there's something wrong, would be my understanding.
A teacher who's trying to manage their class properly, when they walk in, if they ask their students to open up Safari, and then close it again, open up Edco, the books, and then close it again, and open up say the notepad, right, and close it again. So when I scroll across the screen, the last number of apps that I opened up should be in order. Now if I go down to the class at any given time, so if we're working on our books, alright, and we're looking at our geography book. Right, we're looking at our geography book. If I walk down to any student and ask them, or just literally scroll across their screen, if they've been playing games, it'll be in the wrong order, and I'll see it popping up. And I can set a punishment, or I can take their iPad off them, wipe their games off the iPad. Worst case scenario, it offers them a headache as regards rebooting the iPad and getting the games back on. Education is moving towards IT and e-learning. You know, there are a lot of courses coming up in universities for professional development for teachers to do with e-learning. You know, so they know. I mean, the VC is, you know, they always try to be forward-thinking, so they see the potential for this. Now we're the first school in the VC to take it on. There is currently a second school just starting. Well, they've just started to run it after Christmas with the iPads, with a small group of first years. And I know from being at certain IT conferences that a number of other schools next year in the VEC are going to be taking it on as well. So, you know, it's not a flash in the pan. It is something that is going to change the way teaching happens in Ireland. And we are one of the more forward-thinking countries in Europe as regards how the IT is being taught, or how teaching is happening through IT, not just how IT is being taught. There is a kind of an idea out there that we might just stop teaching IT and start teaching through IT. So instead of having to teach them how to use Word and how to use Excel and how to use a computer, they're going to use computers and Word and Excel in every class, or whatever the software might be. They're going to use them in every classroom for every topic, so that they'll just learn by doing. You know, which makes sense. You know, so that's where it seems to be going.
Going to page 75. And then you can go over here to your pencil. You can go into that and you can pick colour and pick your sizes. So I pick green, just highlight then stuff. You can just highlight stuff like that. Then you can go into notes and you can take down your notes. And that's really it. You can do on your books, you can make bookmarks. And this one down here, you can just take stuff off it and put, like, take your highlight off and then push it back on. See there, like that. And then here is like a spotlight. You can move the spotlight around, you can make it bigger and make it smaller. And that's good as well.
That kids definitely learn more. You know, they do learn more when they're thinking about something. They learn more when they have different objectives involved. Whereas just if they look at a page and just read it, sometimes it just doesn't go in. I know for myself, I need to write things down. I need to look at things a different way. I need to be doing different things in order for things to stay in my head. And I definitely think technology is a big plus as far as learning and different ways to learn. Even just, like, you can, especially with the Irish orals, you can videotape the kids while they're doing it. And then you can say, look, this is what you were doing, this is where you made a mistake, look here, you made a mistake here. Or like second years, I'm thinking about doing a film with them. So we're coming up with the script ourselves, and then we're going to use the iPad and then film them doing it and then watch it together, which is something that, of course, they're going to love. You know, so it's great for kind of bringing different ways of, like, moving away from, like, the book, the paper and the pen, which doesn't always work. Like, it has its place in the classroom, but I doubt it will really move, like, it will always have, like, a place in the classroom, but it's not going to be the be all and end all that it is, and kind of is going to be more of an interactive relationship with student, teacher and kind of technology in order for students to learn better. If that makes any sense.
The iPad is good for when you're on your books. You can use the highlighters to write in them, and you can, like, on the side that has notes, so you can take down any notes as well. But some teachers for the junior cert or the leaving cert, you're going to have to do writing, so you have to just get your pen out.
Get your pen out?
Yeah.